golden sand and satin rays. We are what light brings. We are walking stardust. Lightning flash around us, riding on the love bus. We are what light brings. We are all connected by the air we breathe in, by the love we're feeling. We are all connected by the air we breathe in, by the love we're feeling. From Uganda to Italy, branches of the same tree, dancing leaves floating downstream. This is how creation sings. Here to be what we're meant to be. If one can see, we all can see. Forming our reality. This is how creation sings. This is how creation sings. We are all connected by the air we breathe in, by the love we're feeling. We are all connected by the air we breathe in, by the love we're feeling. We are all connected by the air we breathe in, by the love we're feeling.
Welcome to Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center. We are part of Unity Worldwide Ministries, and you can find us locally at 350 North Orchard Avenue here in Vacaville, California. Let's begin our service today with a prayer from our guest minister, Reverend Richard Carlini.
Pray with me, will you please? Loving Spirit, gracious God, Father, Mother God, Allah, Buddha, this morning we open up our hearts and minds to you. And we say, peace be still. Peace be still and know that I am one with God. And in that knowing, we pray for peace around our country, we pray for peace around the world. And this morning, God, we ask for prayers for guidance, that together with the universe, humans of all kind come together and open their hearts and open their minds to the guidance of the universe, to the guidance of God, the guidance of Spirit. We are open and receptive to this guidance, and using love in action, we move forward in this human experience. No matter what we face, no matter what comes our way, we know that indeed God and I are one. And so it is. Amen.
My name is Gary Eisenberg, and it is my privilege and pleasure to be your service assistant today. We are in for such a treat today. We have with us today our guest minister, Reverend Richard Carlini, who will be speaking on the topic of the gift of grief. I am looking forward to his talk and to his meditation, and we are so blessed to have him with us today. Thank you, Reverend Carlini, for being with us today. What attracts these wonderful guest speakers to our center? Perhaps it's our mission statement that reads, transforming lives, inspiring growth, creating loving community, and shining the light of God. And that's exactly what our Youth of Unity are doing right now online in their Zoom meeting. For more information about that meeting, please contact our center at unityvv@pacbell.net. On this beautiful June morning, let's affirm that same beauty in everyone, especially you, because you are a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. You are loved unconditionally just the way you are. And if it's true for you, it must be true for ourselves as well. So let's take this in together. Together. I am a beautiful child of God, perfect in every way. I am loved unconditionally, just the way I am. Our prayer chaplains are so loved unconditionally, just the way they are, because they are standing by and they are simply an email away to connect with you for your prayer needs. Are you going through a challenge? Is a loved one going through a challenge? Would you like to share a joyous celebration? Well, we are so blessed at Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center to have such inspirational prayer chaplains to pray with us. Contact them at unityvv@pacbell.net. They are standing by and waiting. Thank you. I start each day with a thought of gratitude. Usually it's my first thought when I get out of bed. I am grateful. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my friends. And I'm so grateful for my abundant prosperity. Now, to become better aware of the prosperity in your life, I highly recommend that you take this class led by Reverend Dahlia Adams called Prosperity by one of our co-founders, Charles Fillmore. The class starts Wednesday, June 10th, goes to July 8th. It is a Zoom class that starts meeting at 11:30 in the morning and goes to 1 in the afternoon. For more information about this class that will change your life, please contact our center at unityvv@pacbell.net. We've been having a lot of fun at the end of service seeing people in our congregation waving to us. And it's not too late to send in your video as well. Simply take out your phone and film a quick little video of you and your family waving, and we'll tack it onto the end of service, and we will so love to see your smiling faces. Unity of the Valley Spiritual Center. And I feel like a parent when I'm telling you this. Almost. We're getting close. Just about ready to reopen our facility. And we are able to do that because our center here at Unity of the Valley is alive and well thanks to your generous financial gifts and donations. So please remember to go to unityvacaville.org and click on that orange donate button or send a check off to 350 North Orchard Avenue, 95688. Your center will be most appreciative, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Almost. Just about. Are you as excited as I am? I bet you are. So now, let us take a deep breath as we center into our service this morning. Let's say together the statement of faith. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good. Amen.
There's an aching when in the news we see devastation. Children and families can't get help from a corrupt bureaucracy. Can we help the people there? Can we start a love affair? Around the world, compassion can we share? Reach out, embracing our diversity. Step out, outside of your philosophy. Join hands, the world is one community. One community. All religions living in harmony. Politicians crossing the aisle to meet. Together we can set each other free. Now we know there's hope to share. One people, one planet where round the world, compassion we can share. Reach out, embracing our diversity. Step out, outside of your philosophy. Join hands, the world is one community. Whoa, yeah. Reach out, embracing our diversity. Step out, outside of your philosophy. Join hands, the world is one community. Yeah, yeah. Reach out, reach out, reach out.
Well, good morning. So good to be with you. Greetings to all of you at Unity Spiritual Center of the Valley. It's been a while since I've seen you, and you know I wish that I could be there with you in person and that we could be celebrating this Sunday together and enjoying fellowship. But I also know that when I am there with you, I'm also greeting those at home that are watching us on live stream. And today I get to be with you all virtually, and frankly, I'm impressed that we've all gotten this together so well that we're able to get together virtually and still worship together. And wow, so much has happened since I saw you last. I can't even really remember when I was there. I would think it was at the beginning of this year. We had just come off of Christmas and celebrated the new year. And I believe I was, and actually I was here at the beginning of March, and I was talking about peace. And I think I should still be talking about peace today, because we're finding it hard to be at peace with ourselves, even though we've faced a lot of events since I saw you last. You know, I was helping out before the pandemic came on. I was helping out at Unity Center of Davis, and during several weeks before we began to shelter in place, they lost several of their founding members to, they made their transition. And I worked with them through that process, and we did what we needed to do to grieve and discern and celebrate their lives. And in that process, I've become their part-time minister. So it's a joy to have my own ministry again, and also for being part-time means that I can still be with you occasionally as well. And I like doing that. So I'm looking forward to being back with you. But among other things that have happened since I saw you last, and I mentioned it earlier, a worldwide pandemic has swooped in on us, and swoop in it did. And I guess that led us to be sheltering at home, and still sheltering at home, some of us, for over 2 months, and learning what it's like to perhaps live in the same place with somebody for a long period of time again, or live alone for a long period of time again. What it's like to run in and out using Clorox disinfectant wipes and wearing gloves for a while. And I don't know about you, but I've saved quite a bit on gasoline. Not that that's a good thing, because I haven't been out driving, but I have put some money away that I would normally spend on gasoline. As a matter of fact, I have not put gasoline in my car since the last time I was in Davis, California, which was several months ago. And what else has changed? Well, we're all supposed to be wearing masks now, and when we're outside and with others. And so we're also asked to continue maintaining social distancing. Boy, that's a big switch for us. And in the midst of that, in the midst of all that, and all the changing guidelines that have come about and been offered and transitioned, some people are following the guidelines and some people are not. And so we're in the midst of being with that. And to say that the leadership of the United States has been united and helpful at all times during this crisis is obviously not true to anybody that has eyes. So that's not something that we're used to in this country as well. We're used to looking for leadership. And frankly, I'm very thankful that in California we have the leadership of Governor Newsom, and I hold him in our thoughts and prayers as we continue to move through what's going on in, what's going on in both our state and our country today. And then, more recently, we started opening up again. And as we start opening up and coming out from our sheltering, a black man is murdered in public by a law enforcement officer, pinning his neck to the ground with his knee. A black man is murdered in public on someone's phone. It's videotaped. It's made available to the public. A law enforcement officer is pinning a black man down to the ground by having his knee on his neck after responding to a forgery call. So we've dealt with that, and we had been dealing with that, and we've been dealing with racism ever since I've been born, but now we're looking at dealing at it from a different, I think it's reaching ahead. And so in the midst of everything that's going on in our country and in the world, we're looking at racism again and again and again. And with all that going on, when I asked Reverend Dahlia what she wanted me to speak about today, she said, please talk about grief. You talk about grief all over all over the place. You do grief workshops. You've got a radio show on grief. You teach ministry at the end of life, and that's certainly about grief. And so many people are grieving one type of loss or another. Please talk about grief. And I know not only have you all at Vacaville been going through, in Vacaville at our church, have been going through the grief of losing some of your members. And that just adds to everything that's going on right now. So yes, I think we should spend a little bit of time talking about grief today. And the first thing I want you to know is that if you are feeling grief, and most of us probably are, that it's okay. That it's the right thing for you to be feeling right now, because grief is the normal process by which we heal from a physical loss. And we've had physical losses. Individually, probably one of these or other losses, one of the losses that I listed before about sheltering at home and wearing masks, one of them or something else is likely causing most of us griefs right now. If it's the sheltering at home, we're experiencing the loss of contact with family and friends, the loss of breaking bread together, of eating, of having our meals with others and sharing conversation. We must be feeling the loss of the safety of going places, to know how, with certainty or uncertainty, what we're walking into. And agreed, we don't always know in certainty what we're walking into, but now it seems like we know with even less certainty what we're walking into. And not even that, we're going to be wearing masks, and that's another thing. People are wearing masks when they're out in public, and we're not seeing their faces, and we're feeling their feelings. We're not seeing their faces to see their feelings. And maybe we're learning how to feel their feelings a different way. Maybe we're learning to get more in touch with energy rather than reading somebody's eyes or reading somebody's mouth, but we're having to feel the total energy of that person. And so that's a change for us. And even though we've all probably saved money on that gasoline, at the same time, most of us lost our independence. I value being able to pick up and go where I wanted to go, and I had to pick and choose what I was doing. And frankly, I've seen the lights of Trader Joe's, and that's about the size of it. But I was out the other day and took a ride, and I was a bit dismayed to see that all of a sudden, the green hills of California have become the golden hills again. And I missed the transition. Now, not that I don't love the golden hills of California, and not that I don't love the green hills as well, but I have to tell you, I love the transition time too, because it marks a transition in our California lifestyle. It marks a change in our weather. It just marks a change. And so I missed that change. So now we're into the Golden Hills. Well, you know, I do have a radio show, and we've talked a lot about grief on that radio show. And my co-host Bill Engelhardt and I have looked at the grief of sheltering at home, the grief of loss at the end of life, the grief of unemployment. And our show on Tuesday was about the grief of unemployment. And it's a call-in show, and we had a woman call in that actually attends Unity Church in Pasadena, California. And Margaret is both an actor and a teacher. And she's not really sure that she was happy with the teaching profession, and she thought that she would be happy with the acting profession. So she was trying to get some work as an actor while teaching and taking classes. And when the shelter at home hit, when the pandemic hit, well, she was basically furloughed from the acting work and from the teaching work she was doing, and really didn't know when she would be called back from both of them. And at the same time, in her mind, she wasn't sure which one she really wanted to do, if she really wanted to do either of them. And she began to settle into feeling grief. She felt the loss of both those, and she felt the loss of not having to make the decision right now. Or really, had she lost that, not having to make the decision right now? But, you know, being a Unity student, being a student of truth, thank goodness she'd been practicing, and she took a minute to allow some of her unity teachings to enter her mind, and she was focusing on the fact that she knows that God is her source. God is her source in every need, and that she has all that she needs, and that if she needs something else, if she desires something else, that God is her source. And she also knows that that fifth principle is about taking action, and that once she could settle down and pray and meditate, she could focus on taking action. And as she was getting some clarity in her mind and moving through her grief feelings, her roommate came in and said that she had heard that they were hiring for shopping cart fillers for delivery at Ralph's. And she would be a shopper at Ralph's. Well, that's a different kind of a job for a teacher and an actor to have. She immediately began to feel grief again because, here was an opportunity to make money, and it was probably would probably pan out if she just showed up for this interview. And she was going to have to take a job that was, below her station, below her educational level, below what she had worked and was trained in to do. And then she remembered, God is my source, and we can co-create together. And so here I am having an opportunity to have income coming in, because she wasn't having income coming in, and she knew she was going to need it. It was okay for a short period of time. And she went to Ralph's. She applied for the job, and she got the job. So she's been working at Ralph's for the last 2 months, and she's had a chance to dive into the grief, dive into herself a little more deeply, allow herself to feel the grief, allow herself to come in touch with what's going on in her life. And in the midst of this, she's applied and begun training for a master's degree at a higher level in education, and is also getting her credentialing certificate, and is looking into some online acting classes. So having this time to do something else, to really get in and take action during this time, but also to spend time looking inward and exploring what she lost or what she felt she lost, and what might be the brighter end, what might be a way to come out of that grief, what might be the meaning of that grief. In the midst of grief, we can find ourselves, no matter what kind of grief, first in shock and denial. In shock and denial that we don't have a job, in shock and denial that a family member's been taken from an assisted living facility to the hospital which is shut down for COVID, and we might not see them again, or we don't see them again and they pass away. And we don't get to grieve in our own way that we're used to grieving in together and with other family. And we might feel the portion of grief that comes out in the emotion anger. And that's a good thing to feel anger. And we're seeing that in our peaceful protesters. We're not seeing that in those that are rioting and looting. That's not being anger. That's taking advantage of a situation. But those that are protesting and peaceful protesting, and those that are feeling anger about their losses, are in the proper place. And it's good to feel that anger, but to process it and move through it. And yes, we've bargained. We've said, well, if I wear a face mask for a month, then make it okay for me to go outside and not get the COVID virus. And if I do that, then I can do this. And certainly a lot of us have felt that depression. And I want to say that depression is healthy. It's okay to feel it, but during this time, it's not good to stay there. Find some tools to move you through the depression, to move you towards some kind of acceptance. And, the stages that I've been quoting are the 5 stages of death and dying, the 5 stages of grief and grieving by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and in the 5 stages of On Grief and Grieving. That book was written by she and David Kessler as he sat at her bedside in a hospice. And Kessler's now published a book that says that there's a 6th stage, and that's finding meaning. And what I want to call on you today to do is to try to find some meaning in the midst of this grief, in the midst of what we've lost, in the midst of everything that's going on in this world. and try to look at the gifts of grief. Now, let me be clear. Don't think I'm sitting here telling you that I think for one moment that the grief is a gift. I think it's an awful part of the human experience, one that I believe points to the reality that this is not how life was originally meant to be lived. But I do believe that even in the midst of the worst circumstances, beauty can rise out of the ashes of our pain. I've seen it happen in my own life. When I look back over the years and think about my own losses, the loss of my mother, the loss of my father, laid off from a job that I really like, dealing with the loss of 4 cats and 4 dogs and 1 turtle, and the loss of hundreds of friends during the AIDS crisis. In the midst of all these things, grief brought the things that, in the midst of all these things that grief brought, I would just as well wish away. Here are a few gifts that arise out of my own grief. And really, they truly are gifts that have come out of my own grief. And the first is the gift of empathy. Empathy, as you know, is the ability to both understand and feel what another is feeling. It's not an, oh, how sad and move on type of a response. It's an, I see you. I've been there. I may not know your loss, but I know loss. And I feel deeply for you. Empathy grows out of a capacity to engage in the hard and painful stories around us. And walking through grief opened my eyes to the pain of others. It enables me to sit in stories I could never sit in before. What a gift it is to sit with those in the midst of a deep loss. So I treasure that gift of empathy, as I treasure the gift of love. Oh, how our hearts expand in exponential ways when we experience a loss that plunges us into grief. When we've loved the person we've lost, the job we've lost, seeing the loved one in a facility that we can't visit due to restriction. And then to take our love that we're feeling we've lost, and to give that love to someone other than the loss that has produced the grief is a difficult task for us. Willing to allow the love that has awakened in our souls to pour forth into those around us, it may multiply in unexpected ways. So giving love away and receiving love in times of grief is essential to healing grief. It's essential to healing your own grief. And that gift of love is something we can gain from our grief, and we can give it away. And the last thing that I've found that's a gift is the gift of comfort. Friends, family, and others have similar grief experiences and sat with me in the midst of my grief, whether physically or virtually, and they've brought me both comfort and hope. Hope that if they are surviving this, perhaps I will too. This is such an astounding gift that has come out of grief. I've had the honor of offering that grief that I've been given to those that are walking through similar losses. So grief is an invitation to explore and embrace our spiritual dimension. This grief is a gift. You can accept it or you can look the other way, but the invitation stays open, and you will be reminded of it again and again until you finally open that box. So as you go through this coming week and continue going forth in this human experience, look for the gifts in grief, honor them, accept them, and then give them away. Thank you. It's been a joy being here with you today. God bless you.
As we enter this time of meditation, I invite you to become still. I invite you to take your favorite meditation posture, and let the music of Narayan and Janet enter your heart. Fill your heart as we now center within.
I am a bubble, make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am a bubble, make me the sea. I am a bubble, make me the sea. So do thou, my Lord. So do thou, my Lord. Thou and I never apart. Thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am a bubble, make me the sea. I am a bubble, make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Make me the sea, oh make me the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am a bubble, make me the sea. I am a bubble, make me the sea. So do thou, my Lord. So do thou, my Lord. Thou and I never apart. Thou and I never apart. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. Wave of the sea, dissolve in the sea. I am a bubble, make me 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 the sea.
Now let's prepare for meditation. Yes, in the comfort of your own homes or wherever you are, sit back, get comfortable, allow yourself to relax, allow yourself to settle into this time, to this moment. Allow yourself to begin to focus on the breath, that breathing in and breathing out, that breath of the universe, that breath of God, that breath of life, that breath of loss, the breath of grief, the breath of love. Settle into the breathing in and breathing out, and take yourself a deep breath in and hold it for just a moment. And exhale. Exhale. I allow myself to connect with love. Love, love, the divine harmonizer. Love that I behold within me, for I am a divine spirit. I am a divine being on a human experience. I am pure love. Love moves and is timeless through the ages. Love comes but never goes. Love stays, even though we might not be aware of it. I allow myself now to relax into the midst of love. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I feel the power of love centering itself in my heart space. That heart space that pumps in its human experience. Its job is to pump love and life and being into my body. And in the midst of this time of quiet and peace, I focus on that heart. I focus on it pumping. I focus on it pumping love throughout my body, down into my legs, around my hips, down through my knees and into my feet. My heart pumps love. I feel it flowing through me now. It pumps love around my abdomen, through my liver and through my kidneys, up into my lungs and around my neck. The power of love fills my body, up into my face and into my nose and mouth, around the back of my head. I feel love now. Love across the top of my head. And suddenly, that love expresses itself out into the world. I am walking in and with and through love. I am the power of love. Love fills my being. The essence of love is everywhere around me now. And in this love we sit. We sit for a few moments in the silence. We are love. I am love. I be love. I share love. I give love. In the silence, I am love. Deep breath in, and exhale. And we begin to come back to this time and place, bringing with us the knowing that we are love, bringing with us the knowing that we are surrounded by love, coming back, bringing with us the love that we are, the love that we give, the love that we share. We give thanks. We give thanks for this time together, for this time to stop and rest, for this time to stop and know that love is everywhere. There is not one spot where we are not. Licking our lips and wiggling our fingers and moving our toes, moving our shoulders up and down, we slowly begin to open our eyes and say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Richard, for that wonderful talk and meditation. It is that time in our service where we think about getting into the flow of giving and receiving. I tithe to that which spiritually feeds me. I give in love because I love to give. And together we say, God's love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am and have, all that I give and receive. I am grateful. And it is with such gratitude from myself, from our center, of your generous giving, of you tithing your gifts of time, talent, and treasure, and clicking on that orange donate button and donating your tithe, writing that check and sending it to 350 North Orchard Avenue. Our center is such a wonderful place of peace and hope and love and joy because of your generous support. It is with such gratitude that I wake every day and just marvel at the abundance that I have in my life. And you know why? It's because together, the inexhaustible resource of spirit is equal to every demand. There is no reality in lack. Our abundance is here and now manifest. And so it is. Amen. Please join with me now in the singing of our peace song. Every Sunday when we come together, we feel so connected. We feel that we belong to this wonderful extended family. And the prayer that connects us all, of course, is the prayer for protection. Let's say that together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. We are one holy family. We celebrate our oneness and honor our diversity. And as we close our service on the Sunday morning, I would like to thank the people who made this service possible. Thank you so much to Narayan and Janet and your uplifting music. Thank you to Teresa Meadows, our center manager. Couldn't do any of this without you. Thanks to our production team, Mike Fincher on audio, John working on video editing and co-producing, to Gary Eisenberg for song movie creation, for video editing and co-producing. Thanks to our wonderful flower committee for beautifying our sanctuary every Sunday. Thanks to our service assistant, Gary Eisenberg. And of course, thank you so much today to our guest minister, Reverend Richard Carlini, how you have blessed us all on this Sunday morning. Thank you. And now, as we close, Reverend Richard has a special closing affirmation for us.
Go forth this week, allowing yourself to process your grief, realizing the gifts that you obtain from your grief, and then share those gifts with others. Have a wonderful week.
Now, instead of saying goodbye, I would like to start the waving of the hellos. Thank you for joining us this Sunday, and just let me say, hi, everybody.
Hello, I love you.
Hello.
We're all connected.
We love you.
We're
Nita
all
Valley.
connected.
And miss
We-
everybody.
By the
We'll be
air
together
we
again
breathe.
soon. I just
Mwah,
want to
mwah,
thank
mwah, mwah,
you.
mwah. I love the choir.
Hi, how is everybody? Hi.
Wave. Like you're waving to the congregation saying, I love you.
I love you. I love you.
Yes.
I love you. I love you.
Namaste, everybody. And I don't know if we're supposed to have video on this.
I know.
So we have to wave for 20 seconds. Send love to everyone out there that you want to send love to. Yeah. Send kisses. There we go. Okay, keep waving a couple more seconds. There we go. All right. Thank you all so, so much.
Say hi, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
How are you?
How are you? I'm fine.
We miss you.
Miss
We
you.
miss you.
Miss you.
We think about you.
Think about you.
We hold you in our
Watch
hearts.
in my hearts.
And we'll see you soon.
I'm too soon.
See you soon.
I'm too soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Guys.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Shante, shante, shante.
Namaste.